A big thank you to One More for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Yo, what is good people? Ben from Lover of Tech, and we are back for another ultimate camera comparison, and this is an in-house battle. Pixel 6 Pro versus Pixel 6. In the UK, you do have a price difference of £250 and obviously $300 in the US. There's more to a phone than just looking at the camera difference, right? But for that price difference, what are you getting with the Pixel 6 Pro? And is it worth the difference to then just save what is arguably one of the best deals to get on a smartphone for 2021 into 2022? So we'll start with the front-facing camera. We're going to test out pretty much everything. If you've been here for the first time, you know how we do it. With the front-facing camera video, we do have 4K UHD 30 frames a second on the Pixel 6 Pro versus 1080p 30 on the Pixel 6. There lies the first thing already. But let's get into the main camera specs and we'll come back to the main camera comparison and pretty much summarize everything up. So a quick rundown of the main camera hardware specs on both the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6, and both are very similar. In terms of the main wide, it is a 50 megapixel sensor with an f1.85 aperture and a 1/1.31 inch sensor size, 1.2 micron pixels, and it does have the face detection dual pixel autofocus, laser AF, and optical image stabilization. Both are using the same 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor with an f2.2 aperture, 114-degree wide field of view, and a 1.25 micron pixel size. The difference is the Pixel 6 Pro, which does have a 48 megapixel telephoto zoom with a 4x optical zoom and is an f3.5 aperture. You then have the selfie. The Pixel 6 Pro does have a newer 11.1 megapixel selfie with an f2.2 aperture and a 1.22 micron pixel size. And then with the Pixel 6 is 8 megapixels with an f2.0 aperture and a 1.12 micron pixel size. These are the camera hardware specs, and all the full details of the camera hardware specs and the software specs will be in the description below. That out of the way, let's get back into the main camera comparison. So we're starting off with the selfie cameras on the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. Sun's out, so it's come out after the rain, so it's a bit muddy on the grass, but you know what, just so we can see how good it handles the dynamic range and it blinds my eyes, we're seeing how they look. Image quality stabilization. Quick run. Next one, 1080p, but you will be able to spot a difference because the Pixel 6 Pro, when you drop it to 1080p, can do 60 frames a second, whereas you are still limited to 1080p 30 on the Pixel 6. Quick run. Now on 1080p 30 frames a second on both, pretty much the default frame rate and resolution across the board. And a quick run. Now we are in 4K UHD 30 frames a second on the rear cameras on both the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. Man, just checking out the dynamic range as well as the image quality, video stabilization especially. On the main sensors, we'll do a quick run. Let's transition to the ultra wide. And a quick run. Come to the main. Come to the main. Now, when it comes to the 2X is cropping in on the main 50 megapixel sensor on both, as you can see. and it is on a standard stabilization. What we are then going to do is go into optical. Transition's a bit jittery and slow on the Pixel 6 Pro, but this is now ×4 optical. Now we are using a super res zoom on the Pixel 6, and it's in ×4, and it does go all the way up to ×7. I'm going to compare it, move to another tree on this side, and this is how ×20 looks like on the Pixel 6 Pro. Compare that to the ×7. Back to the main. Now, before we continue, a big thank you to the sponsor of a portion of this video, which is One More, with their ComfoBuds 2 truly wireless Bluetooth 5.2 earbuds. The ComfoBuds 2 come at a great and competitive price, offering a great design, a semi-in-ear fit for great comfort in the ears for long listening, USB-C charging, a great audio experience backed with a 13.4mm driver, which is dynamic, AAC codec support, quick charge of 15 minutes, which gives you 3 hours of listening time, and a total of 24 hours of listening time, IPX5 water resistance, and a built-in full EQ support through the One More music app. The ComfoBuds 2 give you the sound and freedom you want when listening to your music and media, and with auto pause and play when removing the earbuds, touch controls, and low latency game mode, the ComfoBuds 2 have you covered for an amazing price. For a limited time and in qualifying countries and regions, check the full details in the description below and use the offer code LoverofTech5 at checkout to get 15% off the normal price of the ComfoBuds 2. Hurry, as this is a limited time offer, and thank you to One More for sponsoring a portion of this video. Now, back to the camera test. We are now in the 4K UHD 60 frames a second video recorder mode on both. And just to note, they have the same benefit as well as the same limitation. It's only the main camera sensor that benefits from 4K UHD 60 frames a second. As you can see, when you crop in to 2x, that is cropping onto the main sensor. And it can go up to 7x, as well as 7x. So it's the same benefit for 4K UHD 60 frames a second on both. Quick walk. Quick run. Finally finishing off at 1080p, 30 frames a second on both. Quick run. Ultra-wide. Ultra-wide. Quick run. Let's see how far we can zoom in. Zoom. 2x. (4x). (7x). Back to the main. And now, quick showcase of 1080p 60 on the rear cameras. Now, you do remember the main limitation of 4K 60 on the rear cameras was the fact they only worked on a main sensor. But with 1080p 60 on both the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6, you do get the ability to switch between all three sensors in the rear on the fly. all the way up to 7x, as you can see on the Pixel 6 Pro. And it's exactly the same on the Pixel 6, ultra wide, wide, 2x, super res zoom up to 7x. So yeah, if you do want high frame rate, drop it to 1080p and you'll get access to all 3 camera sensors. So we are now in both the locked stabilization mode in 4K on the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. As you can see, pretty much locks things into place. 5x, 5x. So with the Pixel 6 Pro, it is using an optical zoom sensor. With this is digital res zoom, which is as expected because there is no optical sensor. So you should see that it's able to just give a clearer image while still maintaining a lock stabilization. So similar benefits, just without the optical zoom. Now we are in the active stabilization, and from what I believe, this is using an ultra wide sensor on both the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro, and it's using very advanced electronic image stabilization with it, and it's meant for really fast movement. So we'll do a quick power run. Quick test of the autofocusing on the Pixel 6 in 4K 30 frames per second. It's fast, snaps into place. And quick test of the autofocusing on the Pixel 6 Pro in 4K UHD 30 frames per second. Snaps into place. So this is the 4K UHD 30 frames per second low light with the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. Just seeing how they both look like. Right, we'll go ultra wide. Again, you can see the dramatic drop when it comes to the low light performance in the ultra wide. Boom, boom. 2x zoom, which is copied on the main sensors. 4x. That's digital zoom. Again, not really showing. So we're in the selfie video, and we do have 4K UHD 30 frames per second on the Pixel 6 Pro, but only 1080p 30, as you know, on the Pixel 6. And again, just seeing how the low light performance is like. Starting off with the daylight photos. Firstly, with the initial rear landscape photos for both the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6, for both the main sensor and the ultra wide, you can clearly see the results of the pictures are exactly the same for the colors, details, sharpness, dynamic range, and just the overall look. This is a good thing so far, as both lenses for the main and the ultra-wide are pretty much the same, meaning you will get the same experience. The big difference will no doubt be in the zoom performance, as the Pixel 6 Pro has a dedicated 4x optical zoom, which can go up to 20x zoom versus 7x zoom on the Pixel 6 with no dedicated zoom lens. With this close-up shot of the flower, the results are the same on the main sensor, given a natural blur with no portrait mode needed due to the large sensor. The main takeaway is how much better the zoom quality and reach is with the Pixel 6 Pro, which you can see with these final pictures here, from the ultra wide to the standard and all the way to the maximum zoom on both these phones. Now when we come to the selfies, as great as both these phones are, the Pixel 6 Pro takes the overall win here. I feel like real tone and just my skin tones overall, matched with the colors produced, are much more pleasing and also accurate. Not to say the Pixel 6 is bad, but the newer sensor on the Pro is just much better. You also get a wider field of view on the Pixel 6 Pro. In terms of portrait mode, when it comes to the blur and edge detection, it looks like they are both the same in this area, which is a good thing. Even in this less than ideal backlit situation on both the portrait mode and standard selfies, the Pixel 6 Pro just about handles it a bit better. Overall, both are great, but it is the Pixel 6 Pro all the way when it comes to the selfies for photos. Last of the daylight pictures is the rare photos of myself using both the wide and the ultra wide, and the results are exactly the same on both, even when you're looking at the portrait mode. This is great news, as if you're using both these sensors for the rare photos in daylight, you will be getting the same results. Let's move over to the night pictures, starting with the landscape shots. With the main sensor as well as the ultra wide on both the Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6, they are pretty much exactly the same, which is another great result. Even looking at the zoom performance, which even with the Pixel 6 Pro having a dedicated zoom, I wouldn't really push it that far when it comes to night shots. When it comes to zoom, they both look the same. This also translates to night sight and also astrophotography for both the wide and the ultra wide. This is to say that both the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6 have some of, if not the best low light photos I've seen so far on a smartphone. The only strange thing is, when it comes to selfie low light photos at nighttime, I actually prefer the Pixel 6. Now, not to say both selfies are great at nighttime in this extreme situation, but with the night sight and the flash, I have to say the Pixel 6 looks just a bit better. And finishing off the rare photos at night, you can see with the rare photos of myself using both the night pictures for the wide and the ultra wide with both the standard as well as the night sight. Yet again, both the Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6 are exactly the same. This is great, as you will get pretty much the same experience. Now onto the video performance, and when it comes to the selfie, it's the Pixel 6 Pro all the way. The high resolution 11.1 megapixel sensor shows not only a wider field of view, but you get the option of 4K 30 frames a second and 1080p 60 compared to only being limited to 1080p 30 on the Pixel 6. As someone that values having the best video, it's the Pixel 6 Pro all the way when it comes to selfie video. Now for the rear video, both phones are on par and give pretty much exactly the same results. Again, apart from, you guessed it, the zoom performance, which to no surprise all goes down to having a dedicated 4x optical zoom on the Pixel 6 Pro. Both have near enough the same benefits and limitations in video as you've seen in my previous comparisons against other competition phones, which I highly recommend you check it. But overall, the dedicated zoom and also the better selfie of the Pixel 6 Pro takes it overall for video. That is it with this ultimate camera comparison between the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. Let me know in the comment section below which one would you pick and what your reasons are after seeing this results in the video. That's it for me, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos on the channel. I hope you're all safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one.
Peace.